All right, hello and welcome everyone. Doug here with the LincolnList.com. I want to welcome you back to another whiteboard lesson. Before we get started, if you like the educational content and you want to keep up to date with the Lincoln, click the subscribe button. Also, if you like the video, click that you like it. And if you have any questions, just fill them out down there in the comment section. We'll do our best to get back to you as soon as we can. Now, today we got a good topic, and that topic is going to be, what do pro traders know that you don't know? What are these closely guarded secrets that we're hiding, locked away in a vault, that we don't want none of you amateurs knowing about? Well, to be honest with you all, kidding aside, there's nothing that we know that most other people don't know, and not what you can't figure out in a very short period of time. And this is really what I want to focus on today, because a lot of people think there is a secret indicator that traders know about, or there is a secret strategy, because you often see people selling that garbage to you. There are no secrets in trading. What really separates a professional from an amateur are the little tiny small details that they focus on that amateur traders either learn the hard way or they never learn, and they're out of the business. So we're going to talk about them. Now, there's obviously quite a few. We're only going to focus on what I believe is the three main ones. So let's just kind of get started. Now, the first thing that we're going to talk about is the setup, okay? Now, if you've traded for a little while, you probably already have one of these. If you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, every single trader has what they call a setup. They are very specific, especially professional, successful traders are very specific in how they go about doing business, how their morning routine is, the types of stocks they trade, the types of setups they trade, and they do the same things over and over again. You see, one of the biggest problems that we have as people naturally is FOMO. We're always worried about missing out, right? So when you're a kid or whatever, it doesn't matter. You always fear, you don't want to be left out of the party. You don't want to be left out of people's plans. And you certainly don't want to be left out when it comes to money. So over the course of all of my years of trading, and for those who've traded longer than I have, which is 19 years, you know, you've seen things come and go. You've seen hot things, hot businesses, hot ideas. And there's this thing that we feel that we have to do that because we don't want to miss out on it. You know, I've had people telling me for years, you got to trade foreign currency. You should trade options. You should trade penny stocks. You should trade bonds. You should get in on cryptos. Well, the answer is no, I shouldn't. I don't have to. Now, if I want to take the time and I want to learn it, or it's successful for you, I'm not saying that those strategies aren't successful, but my game, my wheelhouse is stocks. Always has been. That's where I excel. That's where I'm good. And that's what we're trying to do. So when I mention the words setup, is every trader has a specific thing they do. And you'll realize that the most successful traders are only doing 1 to 2 things for their entire life, right? It's like that Bruce Lee quote, don't fear the man who's practiced 10,000 kicks, but the man who's practiced one kick 10,000 times. You're not trying to be the jack of all trades. You're trying to be a specialist. You're finding a niche, and then you're just laser focused, and you just do the same thing over and over again. Now, you might wonder, why is that so important? Because when you think about it, if you're new trading, you'll learn this one. If you guys have been trading for a little while, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. I want you to think of the biggest trading mistakes you've ever made. Losses. What's the biggest losses, the biggest mistakes you've ever made? And I would almost guarantee you that almost every single one of those mistakes have come by ignoring your setup. You did something outside of your wheelhouse. You took a revenge trade that wasn't something that you knew about. You traded some cryptocurrencies that you knew nothing about, some fun bucks. You traded through earnings. You took gambling trades. You ignored your stop losses and your risk, and you let stuff come back on you for far, far too long than it should have. So I know you're smiling there if you guys have traded for a while. That's where the mistakes come from. And you will learn this. You will learn this even if you're new. You'll step out the box one time and it'll be like, oh, shoot, man. Oh, I should have never done that. Let me get back in my hole. And then you just keep, you just do what you're doing. So setup. Pro traders are very disciplined and very focused on that setup. And they do not veer off of it. Because if you want to make the big money, you're going to have to focus on that setup. The next thing we're going to talk about, something maybe a lot of you don't know. That's not val. That's value. Value. Sorry for the poor attempt at writing. It's value. So what is value, okay? Now I mentioned setups, that every trader has a setup, but I've also mentioned in several of my past lessons and stuff that not every setup is created equal. There is value. Now this will be a little bit difficult to explain without physical charts to show you, but every day there's a value side. There's either going to be value to the upside, or a period of time there's value to the upside, and there is value to the downside. Okay? Most traders never understand this because they see a stock going up and their tendency, FOMO, is to buy that stock without looking at certain price levels, without looking at certain resistance, without thinking about what am I buying and why would I be buying it here and who else would be buying this thing right here? Because all you're expecting if you chase and stuff like that is somebody else is willing to pay more than you will, and that's not always the case. So the value on a move like that isn't to the long side, it may be to the short side. You see a stock dumping, you panic and people are jumping out, you're like, oh, I can't lose any more money, I got to get out of this thing. You're freaking out and you're not paying attention to where support levels are, and then the stock bounces and you wonder why. It's because the value was not in selling at the time, the value was in buying at the time. So every day there is a value. There's also a value in a setup, that if you have a breakout pattern, maybe the nearest resistance is only 30 cents away. There's no value in that because it's most likely if it does break out, it's only going to go 30 to 40 cents. And that's not enough value. Whereas you might find the same kind of pattern where the next resistance made $3 or $4. And I think you understand there is value. So if you are trading, pay attention to the value. Where is that value? Where's the money coming from? Because again, it's not about winning and losing. It's about finding max value. It's about making money, and that's where you're going to find it. You're going to find it through that value. And the last thing, which I think a lot of you may already know, is the bias, okay? There's a big difference between being thought wrong and money wrong, okay? Because I'm probably just as wrong as you are in my thoughts, I've been there before. Sometimes I think the market's going up, it goes down. Sometimes I think that stock won't go higher, it goes higher. Sometimes I think it will go lower, it just keeps going lower, I've been doing this for 19 years, things still surprise me with the way that they have behavior. But the difference is when people get emotional, you can probably put emotions with biases as well, is when they get a bias too heavy and they don't understand they're wrong. Because let's say that you are really a believer in a certain stock because you love the product. Maybe it's a Netflix, you love their movies. You see this value, okay? But it starts diving, it just keeps selling off and it's selling off and it's selling off. And you don't understand why it's selling off. You're not sure because you love the thing. You're a Netflix believer. Your bias is so heavy to the bullish side and to the long side that you can't see what's happening in front of you. So really what a professional trader does better is they realize they can't stay on one bias for very long, and they admit when they're wrong. They just accept the fact that, okay, look, I was wrong. So rather than me to be stubborn and say, look, I'm wrong, but I'm going to stay in it so eventually one day I'll be right. They're like, look, I'm wrong. That's just doing business. That's just how it goes. I can't get everything right. I was wrong on this call. And they move on to the next one. Oftentimes a lot of amateur traders, especially new people out there, and I don't fault you for doing it. I did it for years. It's something that every new person does. You do all this work and you've done all this stuff as research, and then you think something's going to work out and it just looks like it's obvious. It just reeks like, oh, there's no way in hell this doesn't work. And it doesn't. And then you can't believe it. So what a pro trader really does is understand when they're wrong. They catch on to that early and they realize there's no hard feelings. It's just the cost of doing business. And that's what you have to do. And they get out. So when you look back through this and you're thinking about what are these major differences, it's these little details. So if you're a trader out there, the first thing that you got to do is focus on that setup. You want to look only for the stocks that you're interested in trading. You only want to trade the setups and you don't veer off. If a day goes by and there's not a damn thing that you found to trade that fit your setup, then you don't trade. You're not obligated to trade anything. There's not a rule that says you've got to trade every day. You follow that setup, you stay disciplined, you stay routine. When you do see that setup, you take a moment to look at the value in that play. Where is the stock already up 20%? Because if I buy it and it's up 20%, how am I going to get 5 more? That'd be 25. It's going to go up 30. It's going to go up another 20%. All right. Is this really a good idea for me at the time? Look for the value in that. And then understand that, man, you're not perfect. None of us are perfect. We're going to make mistakes. Things are going to go sour. There's so many things that are out of our control. Just admit it and move on to the next trade. It's all about a rhythm. It's all about consistently doing the same thing over and over again, and you'll be just fine. So I kind of hope this video helped you out a little bit. As always, if you need help, visit thelincolnlist.com. Trade with us live each day until the next whiteboard lesson. Thanks for watching, and take care.